Hey out there, I have an idea for a brand new series. The series will be called General Memories. Excuse me, General Memories. That's, open to change if I think of a better name. But the basic premise of the series is sharing memories that I hold dear or find of value, and then also asking other people, friends, family, even people in my community that I just kind of know in a general sense, to share some of their memories as well. And I'm kind of thinking this is a good idea for several reasons. I kind of think right now, in 2021, the idea of preserving, the human essence, the human spirit, the human soul is of such value. Humans are such detailed and fascinating creatures, even though I am one. Uh, and we need to really, hold dear and remember what makes a human, and kind of value that. There is no replacing humanity. There is no replacing a human being. Every human is an individual, and everyone's memories are entirely unique. So I thought it'd be so cool just to kind of, preserve some of my memories, maybe for my children or whomever, and preserve some memories of those around me as well. Just again in that name of preserving the human spirit and soul via video form. Yes, so that's the basic punchline here that we're dealing with. And I will be the first person clearly that offers a memory for this series. So my memory is going to be about the time that I went to Paris, France. And oddly enough, I've only been physically to Paris, France a single time, and it was a very short trip. I went with my nuclear family, my dad, my mom, and my sister. It was just for a few days as well. It was kind of a brief little layover trip while we were visiting other family in Europe, and just kind of having a little vacation as well. So we thought, let's stop in Paris because I hadn't seen it before. So I had actually had the opportunity, oddly enough, to go before to Paris, but I declined. I declined because I was very, very silly and young, and I think my reasoning was, if I remember correctly, it was something so dumb. It was just like to spend time with the current boyfriend I had. Yeah, that was a smart decision. Not. Anyway, so I was finally going to Paris with my nuclear family. I believe it was about, over 10 years now, 10 years ago, could have even been 15 years ago. I'd say it was 2007, 2008. So we are dealing with an entirely different Paris than today. Today's Paris is going through a lot of political unrest and a lot of drama, sadly. But, we were going back to a different time. We were going back to the peaceful Paris of, 2007, 2008, when one could still, go as a tourist and just experience that, generic, wonderful Paris that, we all kind of know from the movies. So I will get into it. Sorry about the rambling. I hope to work on my storytelling skills via this as well. Yes, so the day that I'm going to focus on in particular, my sister and I are walking the streets of Paris on our own. She had been there before. She speaks a little French. I had, tried to, pick up some French before we got there, a few key phrases. So, so my sister and I are walking around alone. Wouldn't recommend that for another young girl in today's era, with all the stuff going along, but that's what we did. I think it was a different time back then. She and I were walking around alone, and we were kind of thinking, well, yeah, let's come up with a little list. What should we do? Because we were sporadic people. We hadn't planned it out. So we were thinking, what should we do? And, she had been to Paris before, so she was like, yeah, let's go to a few cafes and let's, try to order in French, because we don't want to be those silly Americans that are speaking in English, right? Not even trying to speak the French language, I'm setting the waiter or waitress, the server. So we tried, we went to a few cafes and ordered in French, somewhat successful there. Anyway, we did that, and then we wanted to get a good old fashioned baguette and walk around with it, because people actually do that, like they do in kind of like in New York City. You walk around and you eat a hot dog. It's just that's the thing that they do. So we did those two things, and then we were like, well, gee, what else should we do? And when you go to Paris, you are not at a loss for entertainment or things to do or touristy things to check off of your list. Of course, there's the Louvre, there's the Arc de Triomphe, there are a plethora of tours. There's the Cathedral de Notre Dame, tours everywhere, so much to do. But for some reason, she and I, we were like, oh my gosh, what do we do? What do we do? So we finally decide on getting maybe a day pass to a little boat that runs up and down the River Thames, just to kind of, I guess, transport people, or maybe like a little tourist novelty. I don't know if it was entirely necessary, the boat being there, but anyway. Side note there, we decided to get the ticket and board the boat to go up and down the River Thames. So we were doing that, and as we passed the Louvre, we're like, oh gosh, should we stop at the Louvre? And we're like, no, let's not do that. And we pass, we're passing the Cathedral de Notre Dame, before it burned, sadly. And we're like, oh, should we go see the Cathedral de Notre Dame? And she's like, haha, no, we can see the Hunchback of Notre Dame from here, So we don't do that either. And then we're like, well, geez, what should we do? And we probably do something silly like get another baguette. And then we're like, oh gosh, well, let's go see the cemetery. There's a very popular and large, beautiful cemetery in Paris. I can't quite remember the name of it, but we decided we were going to go walk around the cemetery. I really enjoy cemeteries as they are. They're rich in history. I have a history degree, and my sister, she was up for it as well. She thought it was a good idea. So we are taking our baguette, over our massive baguette over our shoulder, and we are heading on down or up to the cemetery. Yes, so we get there, and we didn't have a game plan. We didn't have a tour. We were just going to go to the cemetery and see what we come across. We walk into the cemetery, and before we have probably stepped, I'd say, 50 feet inside, we're just kind of, ambling about. What do we do? It's a beautiful cemetery, right? No real goal or game plan, as I said. And lo and behold, out of basically what seemed like nowhere, this elderly man, great spirit to him. He comes out of basically nowhere. He wasn't even walking on a path. He was kind of descending upon us from an upper area of the cemetery and up, like he was walking down a hill towards us. And he was a slight man. I'd say he was, I'd say maybe even early 80s, 84, 85, wearing, a proper cap like an elderly gentleman would do. He had a cane and dressed very nicely, but in a casual sense, but very nicely. Looked like he respected himself, which was good. And so he comes up to me and and I can't remember if he addressed us in French first or anyway, one of the first sentences out of his mouth, he said, can I take you on a tour, or who are you looking for? And my sister and I were like, whoa, yeah, let's do this. What are the odds? How fun. And so anyway, he takes us on this whirlwind tour of the cemetery, wealth of knowledge, just telling us, I'd say at least about 20 different historical people or famous people that I have that are now residing in the cemetery, that they're interned there forever or buried in the cemetery. So yes, so he takes us to Jim Morrison from the Doors. Who doesn't like the Doors, right? Great music, fun music. Then he takes us to see Perrier, the guy who owned or created Perrier, the sparkling mineral water. That's such a Parisian thing. Who doesn't like Perrier? So delicious, so refreshing. And then he also takes us to another one that stuck out in my mind, Oscar Wilde, and some other people as well whom I hadn't really heard of at the time, and I can't really recall today. But yeah, that was like the basic gist of the day. Just riding up and down the River Thames somewhat aimlessly, eating baguettes, and then going to this massive, historical, beautiful French cemetery with this man just, kind of approaching us, helping us out, giving us this super cool tour. It was just fantastic. And I think, we wrapped up the tour. We met with my parents again, and we, just did, more touristy things, had dinner, and then I think we went to the Moulin Rouge, and we had chocolate mousse. It was a really good day, and I just wanted to say I am so thankful for the time, the trips that I've gone on with my sister and my parents. You really treasure those things as you get older, those memories, and I am so grateful for the relationship I have with my sister and the relationship, yeah, all the good times that we had. So anyway, sorry that this video is a bit convoluted in my delivery. I do hope to work on my storytelling skills. But that is a memory that I hold dear, and I will be sharing more in hopefully a more desirable fashion in the future. But anyway, I thank anyone who stuck with me and watched this, and I appreciate your time. And yes, let's celebrate the human spirit via storytelling and sharing of treasured memories. So hope you have a good day. Thank you very much.